All right, let's talk about references for a CAD job. References are really important to closing the deal on a CAD job, so let me explain that. Let's say you've gone to an interview for a job. You've shown the prospective employer your resume and your portfolio. You've answered all their questions and they like you. What they're going to do next probably is ask you to provide them with references. References are people that they are going to contact and they're going to ask about you. They're going to ask, do you really know your stuff? Do you really know CAD as well as you claim you do? Are you a good person? Do you show up on time? Is your work done on time? Are you punctual? Things like that. You need to choose your references very carefully because these are people who can close the deal for you on that job. Here's an example of what a sheet of references might look like. It would have your name at the top, just like we did on your resume. It will say references by permission. We'll get into that in a minute. And then it'll have the names of people and the contact information that the employer can contact and ask about you. Now, how do we find these people here? That's what our next slide's about. If you were, let's say, for example, a civil CAD major, that means you took a lot of advanced civil CAD courses. What I think you should do is look at your degree plan and identify all of those advanced courses that were in your civil CAD degree plan. All right, so I've circled these right here, and they include things like topographical drafting, water and wastewater, drafting for stormwater, civil design visualization, civil drafting, and even geographic information systems. Next, think about who it was that taught those courses, and then try to find their contact information and contact them and ask if you can use them as references when you conduct your job search. So now when we go back and look at this again, what we see is that these people here are likely your former faculty members. They could also be somebody you've worked for or something, but we'll get into that a little bit more in just a second. So let's go back through the parts of the references. At the top, you're going to have the header, and the header is going to have your name, what it is that you do. It will have your email address, your phone. It may even say what part of the country you live in. That will be your header. What I recommend is just opening up your resume and saving it with a name something like smith.references. And then erase everything below the header, and next write in references by permission and then add the people in here. So let's look at that just step by step. So here's your header. Like I said, open your resume, erase everything from the header down, and rename this thing as Smith_references.doc. Now, if your name is not Smith, don't put Smith there in the name. Put your name there. Sometimes students submit references to me that just say references. I don't think it's a good idea to send that to an employer just without your name on it, right? So be sure and put your name or some kind of ID in the file name. Once you've deleted everything below the header, write references by permission underneath the header. Okay? Including by permission indicates that you've actually contacted the people that are going to follow and asked their permission. Employers really appreciate that because whenever they have to make these phone calls or send emails out to these people, they don't want to bother this guy. But if they know that that guy gave permission to you to use them as a reference, then they'll feel better about making that contact. When they list the names and the contact information, or when you list the names and contact information, think about a couple of things. If the person that you're going to list was a full-time faculty member at the college where you went to school, then list that person as a full-time faculty member and give their title. If they're a professor, or maybe they're the coordinator, maybe they're the department chair, whatever, give their name, give their contact information, give their email address, or whatever is required, okay? For your other references, let's say that they were adjunct faculty members, that is, they weren't full-time faculty members. In that case, what I would do is contact that faculty member and say, would it be okay if I listed your full-time job and your full-time title and your full-time contact information instead of your faculty information? So that's what this student has done. They've listed this guy here, and this guy here. All of those were actually adjunct faculty members who gave their permission to be listed using their full-time jobs. What that does is it makes it look like that all of your references are not just from school. Now, that may come out later when they call, but at least on the surface, they won't look like they're all from college, okay? Now, you can still list somebody that you've worked for in the past that maybe was not CAD related, but they if it's somebody who will say, oh, this guy's the hardest worker you've ever seen, it's always there on time, stays late, that sort of thing, that's good too. But primarily what that engineer or architect is looking for is somebody who can do the CAD work and make those technical drawings. And the people that taught you to do those things may be the best people to speak about that for you. Sometimes students want to put a personal reference in there, and I always caution against that because personal references, they may say, oh yeah, you're a really nice person, but they don't know anything about your CAD skills or anything that really help the employer make a decision about you. Now, maybe if you know somebody who is a high-profile person in the community, or the governor, and you want to put them in there, sure, unless the employer doesn't like the governor, and then you run that risk. So that's how we put together the references. I've included a checklist that kind of gives a step-by-step for how to do this. So we start by identifying the courses that you took. Then we identify the faculty that taught those courses. We contact those faculty members and ask if they can be used as a reference. If they agree, you ask them for their title, their employer, their contact information. Open the resume in Word and rename it as something like Smith_references.doc. Delete the information in the resume below the contact information in the header. Just below the contact information, add references by permission. Below references by permission, add the names, titles, employer, and contact information for each reference. Check the document carefully to ensure there are no mistakes, typos, inconsistent spacing, fonts, inconsistent font heights, etc., and save the file. Attach the file to an email and send it to me. I will review it, add digital comments, and send it back to you. Make the revisions, save, and resend the file to me. We will repeat steps 11 and 12 until I indicate that I've accepted your references and given you the points in Blackboard. Note, whenever you send your references to an employer, print or save the Word document as a PDF and send the PDF version to the employer. Don't send a Word document.